Good afternoon, everyone. Today is Tuesday, November the 16th, and we're delighted that you've joined us for our third series of the award-winning Harnessing Tech to Connect. Hello, I'm Maureen Williams. I'm with Four Seasons, the Care You Trust, as the Director of Care Navigation, and I'm delighted to share with you and delighted that you've joined our first session in our three-part series. This is a collaboration between the Land of Sky Regional Council's Caregiver Program and Project CARE, as well as AARP of the North Carolina Mountain Region, Four Seasons, the Care You Trust, the Charles George VA Medical Center, and Bob Krollman with Skyheart Consulting. And we're delighted to be able to share with you ways that we can use technology to connect during these very challenging times in a pandemic and as we move forward in our lives, not knowing exactly what this is going to look like. I'm excited to tell you that there will be prizes given, technology prizes. And how do you access those prizes? Well, there will be a survey at the end of the session. Please complete the survey. I mean, we really have some really nice things to share with you that we'd like to give you. And if you look at the comments either below the screen or to the right of the screen, you'll see information about the survey, about the prizes, and lots of information. And in fact, that's how you can type in questions and comments. So we're just delighted that you're here. And we also want to share with you, and you'll see this in the banners going across, that the Veterans Administration is having a caregiver fair tomorrow. It's virtual from 2 to 3 p.m. on caregiver resources. So you'll see information about that coming up in the banners and in the comments. So please access that information. And we'll remind you of that at the end. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce Kim Pickens from the Kim Dickens. Oh, well. Hi, Kim. Dickens. She'll tell you more about today's session. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Maureen. It's great to see you online again. As she said, I'm Kim Dickens, and I'm a community volunteer with AARP, and we're so happy to get the opportunity today to have a local occupational therapist join us in this, our kickoff for the third series of presentations of Harnessing Tech to Connect. And as Maureen mentioned, you can put questions in the comment box, which should be below or to the right of the screen, and we'll get to them as we have time during the presentation or even after. So I'm proud to introduce Sheila M. O'Conner, who is the founder and principal of No Place Like Home, Western North Carolina. She has decades of hands-on occupational therapy experience working alongside her clients. Applying her knowledge and experience, Sheila designs solutions that will enhance quality of life today while mindful of future physical, sensory, and cognitive ability changes. A key advantage is the multiple decades Sheila M. O'Conner has dedicated to the occupational therapy field, working in hospitals, rehab centers, nursing homes, and in clients and homes. In addition, she has obtained advanced training, credentialing, and experience in this area of specialty, home modification and home accessibility. So we're eager to hear what you have to tell us today. So take it away, Sheila.
Thank you so much, Kim. Hello, everyone, and thank you, Maureen. And I want to thank, too, Rebecca Chaplin with AARP and Edward Jones, who's sitting here beside me. He's going to help work the camera and help me in the room here. And as you know, we couldn't do any of this without this whole team of people. So I want to thank them all for inviting me. So we're talking about harnessing tech to connect. I'm going to be talking here about some low tech, very simple things, and into some high tech ways and to connect, and also just to help focusing on keeping people safe in their home. And especially in these times when it's difficult to get out sometimes, or you're not going as many places as you might have before. And I'll have Rebecca give me the next slide. Thank you. There you go. Let's see. Back up a little bit. There we go. Back up, Rebecca. I think just okay. So we're going to start first with just some low tech things. And again, that's me, and you've heard about my introduction. So we're starting with the low-tech things. So first thing I have here is this device is actually an alarm. We're going to start like outside the home and then working our way inside the home. But this is for a great device for people who might have someone that tends to go out of the house, maybe someone that you don't want to be leaving. And I have here, this is an alarm that adheres onto the door. You can see that great. Okay, and it has a second piece that also adheres to the frame of the door, so that when someone opens the door that you're not wanting to leave, it does set off an alarm. It's a very loud 120 decibel alarm that will alert you if someone is trying to leave the house, that maybe your loved one or someone you care for, if you're a caregiver, keeping them in the home there, or at least alerting you so they're not getting out. Another device I have here, again more for home safety, and is a device called a wireless remote socket. And this device, you can hook up several things to this plug. In fact, it comes in a set of 3 plugs, but and it has a remote here. But if you were wanting, for instance, I can think of a client of mine that has a bedroom where there's no overhead light, and when you walk in the room at night, it's very dark and you have to walk quite a ways to get to a lamp. So a device like this, they could plug in the lamp over by the bed where it is, and then a remote like this could be right by the door, so when they walk into the room, they can turn on the lamp this way. So this comes in a packet of 3 different things. So you could have, for instance, a TV that maybe was across the room, a couple of lamps. These come in a packet. Let me just pull that apart here. Oh, there we go. Packet of 3 of these. So, and this is just a good safe measure, looking at home safety and looking at ways to make sure people can avoid anything that might be a trip hazard or fall, especially at night when people are getting up. And you can think how you could keep that right by the bed too, if someone is getting up in the night to use the restroom. We know a lot of falls occur at night, and a lot of falls occur in the bathroom. So most all falls. So anyway, just having a way to turn on a light, and this too could be Velcroed right beside the bedside table, or as you come into a room. Okay, another item we want to talk about, just for safety, is these LED sensor lights. And these also have adhesive on the back, so they could be adhered to along the wall, low-lying along the wall, so in a hallway or on a staircase. Again, another place where people can tend to slip or fall going downstairs, especially in stocking feet. So this is a great little item. Let me hold it against my sweater so you can see the contrast color. But it has battery operated. You just slide this down, put the batteries in there, and then it has the sticky surface that can be removed and stick onto the wall or a staircase. They're great. They're great. And I want to just give you an idea too of prices of these things. And these all came from Amazon. Primarily, you can get them very easily. But these are $15.99 for a packet of 3, just to give you an idea. They're very inexpensive, but really might come in very handy. Okay, my item number 4 is thinking again about communication, is this Echo Dot, it's called. And some of you might be familiar with these devices now, the Alexa, where you can command, using that word, it triggers this device to do any number of things. In terms of communication, you can have Alexa call my daughter, and it can be programmed in with a smartphone to make a phone call the police. You can also have it set to wake you up in the morning. If someone says, I want to wake up at 7:30, remind me to take my medications. Wake me up at 7:30 and wake me up to NPR. I want to hear the morning news. I mean, in your mind, you could be thinking, I want to hear the news, so wake me up to NPR. Or they're great for people that are home alone for company, just to have music on. I know a lot of my clients use Alexa for just playing. They can play big band music. You can say that to Alexa, play Glenn Miller music, play Elvis songs, any kind of music that you want. And this one is unique because it also has a clock feature. So I'll show you on this box. It does show the time. So when it's set up, it'll have the time. So across the room, you can also look and see what time it is. That's unique to this device. And you may have seen other ones. There are more expensive ones that can do more things. For instance, some have the lyrics of songs. If you say play songs by Patsy Cline, and then it'll give you all the lyrics too. But anyway, there's all kinds of these Alexa devices. And this one's called the Dot. Yes, that's the Alexa Dot. And just to give you an idea, in prices of things like that, this one costs like $60 on Amazon, but there are some used ones that they have too. So if you were wanting to just experiment with one to see if you would like to have that in the home, they have them used too on Amazon, or there's different versions. And believe me, I have no interest in Amazon, so let me say that up front, but I'll be talking about just ease of access of where you can order these things that you can even just look them up and see if it's anything that appeals to you as you read more in the description. So talking about communication though, the next device is a lower tech device, but it is called a personal amplifier is the technical name for it, personal amplifier. And I'm going to just show you the box it came in too, so you can be familiar with that. But these are wonderful. Oftentimes people don't want to get hearing aids. Sometimes it could be a vanity issue. People don't want them, but so many times it's the expense. I mean, they're easily $2,000. So the expense is a big issue for a lot of people. But this little device, it's battery operated. I put the batteries in already, and it has a simple little on-off switch on the side. And what you can do is either hold it. For instance, if I was talking to someone sitting across from me, I would have the earphones in my ears and then hold it out for them, or they could hold it in their hand to talk to me. And it really is wonderful, so no one has to shout. And another great feature of it is in a restaurant, you can put it in the middle of the table and not necessarily pointing at any one person, but you can put it in the middle of the table, and again, the hearing impaired person can have the earphones on, headset on, and they can hear very well what everyone's saying as it goes around the room or around the table, and also when the waiter comes to the table and so on. Let me see if there's anything else. It's mainly for an amplifier, because you often hear people that have hearing aids say, in a crowd, it's annoying because it picks up every sound, and it's hard to distinguish the voices that are close by versus just the whole room full of noise. But this way, it's just another option, because again, the microphone's more in the center of the room, and they can adjust the volume easily on the other side. There's a volume control. So this personal amplifier is something to consider, and they run anywhere from $28.99 to $119. So there's a big gamut of prices there for those personal amplifiers. And that, it might be a good thing too for someone who maybe their hearing is just beginning to get impaired. And I mean, they're noticing they're having more trouble and they're maybe not quite ready for the hearing aid yet, but that might to really help ease the pain sometimes of the spouse or caregiver that's having to talk louder and louder. Okay, this is varying from communication a little bit, but another great device that I wanted to tell you all about that will be very helpful as we head into the holidays. We're going to be all cooking perhaps or baking things and working in the kitchen, and I grabbed this cranberry sauce to demonstrate, but this device is actually a jar opener. So many times as we age too, it's more and more difficult to open jars. So this device is battery operated too. It looks like a menacing creature, but actually it fits on top of the jar, and it says to put the jar on a flat surface. So Edward, I think I'm going to come down to the table if we can on this one. And there we go. And you turn it on, and then it takes a few seconds, but it slowly closes in. You can see the top, and then the bottom closes in. And then it takes it and it pops the lid. There we go. Okay. And it takes just a few seconds and then it shuts off. Okay, I'm going to put it over here. It's kind of noisy. It does shut off eventually. But anyway, that's just a great thing to be aware of too. That's right. It's not your grandma's jar opener. It's a machine. But okay. And then let's see. And it was about, I think it went off by itself when I was practicing with it, so no worries. Anyway, okay. Thank you. There we go. Let's see. I think I said it was around 1999. But anyway, good thing again for people that are having any issues with their hands, and it's not aging. It can help a lot of people, really, any age. Okay, a couple devices too. I just want to show you too for picking up things as we drop things on the ground. You know, there's different kinds of reachers, and sometimes too people will drop a remote control or have difficulty bending over to pick up any number of objects, or reaching high too. But these, you probably all have seen these, but these are your basic kind of reacher that you squeeze to get things off a shelf maybe, or a down low, or I think primarily too, even getting things out of a dryer. For some people, it's hard to get down. So getting clothes out of the dryer, that's a great thing. And then this is a new device on the market, and these are called Pixie, P-I-C-K-S-Y, Pixie. And they have a surface on the end that's kind of like Dyson, if you're familiar with that, or it has a little bit of a sticky surface, but it doesn't have any residue on your skin or on the object you pick up. But this is great for all the small objects we drop, like think about a pill. I can think about that so many times. People will be taking their medication and drop just one pill or a few pills on the ground, and it's really hard to get down to pick those things up. Or even little things like this one, like demonstrate, like a pen, just picking up a small thing. You may drop a pen or pencil on the floor. It sticks just enough to pick up small objects. It's not heavy enough for a jar or for a book or anything like that, but certainly for small things that fall to the ground. I'm going to demonstrate, like you think about so many people, their TV remote controls, they're sitting and they drop those, and it picks up things like that. So just to give you an idea, this was invented by a woman I met. She lives in Durham, North Carolina, actually. But she said she was visiting a loved one at a nursing home and just saw they're having so many trouble dropping their newspaper, dropping little things, and they couldn't get to them. So she and her husband actually invented this. So this is really a new item, I think it's great. It comes in a small size, but it can also go into your purse if you were traveling, or in a bag. And then there's a longer one too. But anyway, these are my Pixie. So then going back to communicating and technology to stay in touch with loved ones. We're still in the home, but everybody has seen, of course, the cordless landline phones. These are great. And I want to make you aware of another resource besides where you could also get phones if you have any kind of low vision or vision impairment, especially anywhere on the spectrum from low vision to legally blind. Oftentimes, communicating by phone is really difficult. The flip phones and some of the smaller cell phones are really hard to see. I want to tell you about the North Carolina Center for the Visually Impaired. And let me see. I know Rebecca's got some information she's going to post. Oh, there we go. Library for the Blind and Physically Handicapped. But they're a great resource, and especially if you live in a bigger city, a bigger area, they have their social workers usually that are trained to come out and meet with people. I know I refer a lot of my clients to them, and then they come out to the home and will look at different products that they have that might help the person. And I was recently with someone who was able to get a phone like this from the North Carolina Library for the Blind and Physically Handicapped, and it's backlit. Like, these numbers are all backlit, and it's just easier for them to see when they're trying to dial. This is a person that has macular degeneration. So that's one example of things they have to help communicate, but also it was beyond my ability to understand. Some of you probably will if you're more high tech than me, but they were also able to hook the phone into the person's cell phone so that they could still call long distance, and it wasn't going to be plugged into the landline. So it looks just like this. It has the better backlighting for low vision, but they were able to stay in touch a lot better with their doctors, with their family, friends, whoever they wanted to call, because they could more easily see the number. So I just want you to be aware, and you could find out for your county. I worked real closely with the woman that's over our county, Buncombe County, and then there's a lady also I know I've worked with in Haywood County, and I'm talking just locally here where we are in Western North Carolina, but they service, I think there should be one for every county, hopefully, but they service 2 or 3 counties and can provide you with information. They have a lot of different equipment. They will come out and assess, like, if there might be a better lamp that would help someone be able to read or see or do the hobbies they like to do. They have some kind of higher intensity lamps. They have simple things in the kitchen, for instance, on the stove or a microwave. This person I'm thinking of, he was having trouble anymore seeing where the dots were the numbers were for the microwave. So they put on the microwave a simple little raised dot, and they're special for low vision, but so the man could know where he was in terms of which number to push for the minutes of things he was reheating or cooking in the microwave. Anyway, just brilliant. A lot of things, a great resource. Now, you might have heard they have the books on tape. That's a great thing too for people that like to be able to keep reading books, if you will, reading books on tape, but they can play them. But then they also have a lot of things for low vision, communication. Great resource. Okay, let's see. The next thing I'm going to show you is very interesting. A couple of cute things. These are, we talk about, let me grab both of them here, just a second. Some items that are robotic. These are a dog and a cat, as you can see, and they certainly have brought a lot of comfort to some people I have worked with. Specifically, I can think of people that have dementia, and maybe they did have cats as pets in their past, and they aren't able to care for them now. But it has a little switch underneath here. And as you can see, they're motion activated, but it will respond to search and I don't know if you can see, it's moving its eyes and its head. It's really sweet. And it purrs. I don't know if you could hear that too, but it was purring for us. But I have a woman who purring. But she really does enjoy this little cat she has, a kitty that sits on her lap, and it does move and kind of respond. So they really enjoy it. And I know Edward was telling me about, there it's waving to you now. Okay, I'm gonna turn it off. It's got a little switch under here. And you can either have it be muted or like, so it's just moves but doesn't make sound, or on full bore where it purrs and it moves. But that's a, it's does it fall under communication? I think so, because it's definitely something that keeps people company and it brings a level of comfort. And Edward was telling me about the dog. I hadn't seen the dog before, but he was talking about a client he knew that had a dog that visited him regularly with his daughter and loved the dog, but it got to be a little bit too much, so he was missing it, but they got him this kind of a dog instead. And sorry doggy. But anyway, it brought him a great comfort to feel like he still had access to a dog. Some people, as we know, are dog lovers, and they would prefer something like a dog versus a cat. But anyway, just wanted to make you aware of these things that are on the market too, that again might bring somebody a lot of comfort and be a way to communicate and reminisce about a pet they might have had and enjoyed, or just provide some comfort now. And these are, let's see, the cat is $125 and the dog's $139. So these are robotic pets that, again, can be a source of comfort and support to someone in a different kind of way. Okay. Let's see. I think, too, what I'd like to do, Rebecca, is now talk about the slides. If we could go to those. I want to talk to you about another resource, and that is this company called Simply Home. And it's an Asheville-based company, but they service people all over the country. And again, I do want to say I have no connection to them, except that I think they're wonderful. And it's a resource I try to tell everybody about, because it might be something that can help you, or you'll think of it when you're talking to another family member that it might be able to help somebody else, a neighbor. But you can go to the next slide. And what they do is they are very high tech. So what we've talked about so far, it was pretty low tech kinds of things, working our way up to something much higher tech. But they have ways of communicating with family members. They have a computer system that's really now, it used to be years ago when I talked to them, they would have to come out and wire the home or retro wire a home to be able to get all the different appliances connected and so on. But now they said you could do it all through smartphones too. So the technology's totally shifted. So it's much less expensive than it was. But for instance, things like being able to communicate with maybe an adult daughter or son that live in Atlanta and the senior lives in Asheville, or vice versa, a parent or family member that lives across the country. But through the technology and through their phone, you could check in on your mother or dad, like to see how they're doing. And it's showing you this diagram. It's things like, it also can see it, like, for instance, did they get out of bed? They usually are up by 8, and I've got no alert on my phone that they actually stirred and were out of bed, because they have sensors that'll tell if the person's moving about. Maybe they are supposed to take their medication at 10, and they have a medication dispenser that will alert to if it was touched or not touched. So then the daughter knows to call the mom to say, hey, Mom, are you up? Did you take your medicine? It just helps the family members or a caregiver that's out of the home stay connected. If you do live locally, they have a showroom in Arden, and I'm sure in COVID times you have to call ahead and make an appointment, but they're in a huge warehouse, but inside the warehouse is an actual home. So you can walk in the front door, and they too have some different kinds of alarm systems set up too, to be alerted if someone is trying to get out of the house or in the house. But all the way from the minute you walk in the door and you go to the bedroom, to a kitchen, to a simulated, many rooms of the house, and they do show you all kinds of technology that can help keep the person safely in their home is the goal. So we talked a little bit, their medication dispenser. But that's the goal, is looking at general independence, medication compliance, the cooking safety. Now, this is really interesting. They have there too in their kitchen a stove, and with the oven all connected, of course, but there's a way too that there can be a sensor on the stove that will cut it off if the person hasn't walked by it after a certain amount of time. So you know how that's always a risk of someone leaving something on the stove and they walk away and forget that they have something. I've done that, I will admit, but sometimes it can be a real hazard if it happens repeatedly and you're beginning to be concerned about a person's ability to remember. So this is a feature that can then turn off the oven, turn off the stove, especially if no one's walked by. And then also ways to call for help too. They have some devices, and I have a flyer on it, but anyway, it's a personal emergency response system that's a pre-programmed unit and a pendant, similar to what you've seen that are advertised, but allows you to press a button for immediate assistance, so that they can help you, like you've heard of the lifelines and things like that. It's something similar. And then let's see, the fall and inactivity, that's similar to where it's alerted if the person hasn't been moving about, and maybe you see, okay, they've gotten out of bed, but now they haven't gone into the kitchen, or could there have been a fall? Okay, Rebecca, next slide. So anyway, just again, I'm just letting you know about this great resource that's out there, because their whole goal is looking to independence. And they do a lot of work, not only with seniors, but with group homes all over the country also, for helping adults that have different kinds of mental disabilities be able to live as independently as possible. So a lot of these things apply to working with people in group homes as well. But you'll see it, like I'm talking about, it's sensor-based systems that can alleviate concerns about cooking safely, medications, the risk of wandering or falls, and it's really, it'd be worth it to go take a look at all they have if you're interested. And let's see. Okay, next slide. A little bit more about them, but I think yeah, I think we've covered pretty much all of that. Another high-tech device I want to let you know about that's really amazing, and again, you can think of it for all ages, really, but it's bought from Amazon, and another client of mine just made me aware of this one, but they set this up themselves for their mother, but it's a security home camera. It comes in a packet of several cameras, but they, again, on they can look at how their mother is doing. It doesn't go up into the cloud and it isn't stored. So they don't want that. They're not interested in recording it, but they just want to be able, for peace of mind, to, at any time of the day, kind of like the nanny cams, but you can take a look and see, okay, there's mom. She's reading the paper. Great. Sitting in the living room, fell asleep in her chair, but she's okay. Or they have it, she was telling me, strategically placed in the bathroom so that they could see the floor outside the shower, outside the commode. So if she were to have fallen, they could see that. But you know, they're respecting her privacy, of course. But anyway, that's something she was showing me that was, I mean, it's high tech on the one hand, but they were able to install it very easily. So in that sense, it's low tech, that they were able to put the cameras up themselves with adhesives in the room. They're battery operated. They're going to have to be alert to that and change the batteries. But the mother feels good about that. She's able to stay in her home. She knows they're keeping an eye on her. And maybe it's one more step to keeping the person there before then. Maybe the next step will be they'll need some caregivers in the home, to the next step of, you know, perhaps long-term care if need be. But the whole goal is just trying to elongate that time where she can be in the home, and the family is relieved. They can keep an eye on her, and she can get in touch with them also. So those are some really great higher tech items that I want to be sure to tell you about. And then I'm going to go back to a few things that just help keep people in the home, keep them moving about safely. And these are some more from my OT, occupational therapy handbook, so to speak. So they're not so much directly related with communication, but they are good for the caregivers, making it maybe their job just a little bit easier. And so I want to show you a few things. Let's talk about, this is something called a sock donor. So you may have seen this before, but if you ever had a hip replaced or know someone that has, but it's not only just hip replacement too. Sometimes as people age, it's just harder to get down to your feet to put your socks on. So this device, you actually put your sock on the end of it and all the way to the end like that, and you drop it down to the floor, and then slide your foot inside there. And you're able to just push your foot on through, and your sock comes on. If you can ride with me on this one, so you can imagine. Okay, there's the foot. So again, just the sock donor is a great little tool, and you just put the sock all the way on. You drop it to the floor, and then you put your foot inside there and pull it up. So Edward was telling me his wife had one of these after a hip replacement, but she wasn't that crazy about it, right?
That's what works for.
I know. Some people aren't. I know. Some people find sometimes it's easier to have a caregiver do this, but if you know someone who lives alone or whatever, it might be something that's really handy for them. So first, especially sometimes just a short period of time. A couple other just gadgets I'm going to show you just to make life easier. That's the whole goal. And that is these utensils. Now this again is for people that as we age, any kind of arthritic changes, but you'll see it's built up handles that will come in handy. Sometimes it's just hard to grasp a regular fork or knife. So just want to make you aware of these. These are easier to grasp. And if these are on Amazon too, places like that, you can find them, hospital supply companies. But if you want to do it, really do it yourself on Amazon too, or you can order this. This is called just foam padding for built up utensils. But it's a brilliant idea somebody had of taking, I'll hold it away from my sweater here, let's see. Taking pipe insulation and it's really basically that's what it is, but it's a smaller hole there so that you can insert a knife or fork, and then you can also just cut it with regular scissors and have it the size of the person's hand. So then they too can just pick up things easier, maybe to like a pen. Sometimes just things are harder to grasp. So you can cut it off to the size and then have something that is easier to grip. Okay, never mind on this one. But if I had time, I would cut it off and then you can slide it through. Believe me, works great. Okay, so that's just to make you aware of this. Good stuff for people that are having trouble grasping stuff at home, whether it's their toothbrush or knives or forks and so on. And this one too, I was just going to show you for people that have difficulty buttoning their buttons. You remember, some of you might remember these long ago. Gosh, my grandmother had something like this in her toy chest for us to play with these old boots she had, women's boots that had more buttons up the top, up the button. But anyway, it is called a buttonholer, and you can put the button through there and then put it through on when you're buttoning a shirt. So, and that's a lower tech thing. But what I also saw recently, this might really be a helpful tip for those of you who may be caring for someone that you have to help a lot when you're getting dressed. If you have to button all the buttons down, say a man's shirt, a woman's shirt, blouse. They now have blouses and shirts that have magnets all the way down, and they're the size of the button. They're a little round magnet, so you can take off a blouse or shirt very easily. Just open it up and the magnets will come apart. And putting on the shirt, the same thing. If you get it halfway close, those magnets just click, 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 and line up, and it makes it so easy. I've had patients in the past too, really bad rheumatoid arthritis, and they're able to just button their shirt up again really easily. So, all right. And just a couple more things. How we doing, ladies?
Keep going.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, great. Okay. So, so we talked about then just some ideas of things for dressing to make life easier. If you're the caregiver or know of someone that has difficulty buttoning buttons. A couple more things I have for now moving, say, outside the home and we're getting into the car, getting out of the car. This is a swivel seat. And this is really good. I'm thinking of a man I work with that has Parkinson's, for instance. And, it just takes more time. It's a little more difficult to get into the car, get his legs into the car. And we always want to be so aware of the caregivers and making sure they're not doing all the lifting and carrying and unnecessary things maybe that we can help them avoid to protect their backs in the long run also. So yes, this swivel seat, just like it says, say you're getting in a car, it's seated on the seat, and you sit down and then you just swing your legs around and it swivels. I hope you can see that, but anyway. Yeah, Edward's going to demonstrate it for us. Okay, I don't know if your camera will get low enough, maybe.
And I assume, Sheila, it would work on a dining room table or some other chair that you're on that's hard to get straightened out on.
A dining room table?
A chair, on the chair.
Yeah, it would work on a dining chair. Absolutely. Yeah, it would work in the house too. And he's going to demonstrate it right now. Okay. There we go. I don't know. There. Yes. Look at that. So easy. That's great. Thank you. Thank you. Very good.
And is it comfortable to sit on, Sheila? And would the rider be able to stay on that for an hour car ride?
I would think so. Yeah. It's very padded, Kim. Yeah. Like it's, I don't know if you can't tell by looking at it, but yeah, it's soft. It's cushiony. And Edward is shaking his head. Yes, it was very comfortable.
Okay.
That was 2 seconds, but yeah, I would think it would be for a car ride. And, depending on the person's ability, if it wasn't, you certainly could slide out from under it, be easily removed and then replaced when they're ready to get up at the end of the car ride or something. I think depending on the person's ability to move around. Okay, great. And then I got one more thing I want to show you, and that is, we're talking about the car now. So we've left the house, we're out the door, and this is really interesting. It's called a car armrest. I don't know if you can see the picture. Maybe, Ed, we could zoom in a little bit. There we go. Thank you. But anyway, this hooks into when you open your car door, it hooks into the latch space, and it's universal for cars. So it allows you to have something to lean on to get out of the car. When you swung your legs around now, perhaps you've had a swivel seat like that and you've swung your legs around, but now you're trying to stand up, move to the edge of the seat, and you can push down on this and it just gives you that leverage that you need to stand up. So these are all just little helpful things that I hope you can think about for yourself or a loved one, or as I said, anybody, just in conversation with the friends and you're hearing about their mother or aunt or uncle or relative that's having trouble. But I also try to say so many of these things can help just almost anyone at any age, really, if they're having any kind of issues, make life easier. So, okay. Kim, shall we open?
We have some questions for you, and sort of going backwards because I just saw a question. So where can they get that swivel seat?
Okay, good. I saw that one on Amazon also, and they ran anywhere from $19.99 to $60. So I guess you would want to look at the details of each one to find out the pros and cons of it. Maybe some of them offer more padding. But it pivots 360 degrees, portable, lightweight. So it is a great item if you think about anybody, especially I'm thinking with Parkinson's or any kind of lower extremity issues. It's hard to get their legs in and out of the car.
Yeah, that's a super low-tech item, and it makes perfect sense because we see people struggling, but they should have them at every hospital. Here's another question for you, Sheila. What do you suggest for a loved one without hearing aids for watching TV and they like to have the volume up terribly loud? So you were talking about that little speaker on the table. Is there something else that someone can do to?
Well, it is another thing you can get that I'm sure you could Google that too. I'm sorry, I don't have the name of it, but it's a headset it's radio operated with the TV, so that the person watching the TV can put on a headset and they can have it up as loud as they want. It has a control volume in their ear, but the rest of the house does not have to hear it. So those two, you can look online. I would look online, Google something general I would start it with Amazon, but something like a volume, let me see, I don't know, let me think. What would it be? Ever, do you have any thoughts on, but something for amplifying sound with it, on the TV.
Right.
Yeah, I would start there, but I'm sure you could zero in on it with some other keywords about decreasing the noise on the outside, because that's a real problem.
Yes, because the other person in the household will go nuts with the TV up so loud. Here's another question. This is about the remote socket control. Do they have different buttons to control each item you have connected into each separate outlet? Do you have one control like for 3 outlets or?
Good question. Yes. It's one control. Like for instance, this is a This is a 3-pack wireless remote. And again, they came in packs of 1 or packs of 5, but it only has the one switch. So, and it on the switch, it says 1 on off, 2 on off, 3 on off. So it's got the 2, 4, 6 buttons. So you would have to have the one, like I'm thinking of, as I use that example, walking into a room, you could turn on the lights, maybe turn on the TV. But yeah, you just would have the one for 3 outlets.
And then would you mark on your remote there what they are? Or?
That would probably be a good idea. Maybe to the side, like L for lamp, T, T for
right.
TV, something, yeah, whatever would make sense to you to help a person remember.
Sure.
Or it would take 1 second to know. Okay, I just hit the. I'm sure you could learn it pretty quick when you hit the button number 1 and it turns on this or that.
Then we had someone else, and I think a lot of people think about it, but going back to the Echo Dot you showed first and Alexa, and just so everyone knows, we worry, can they transmit or hear or record what we're saying? I think people worry about their privacy.
I have heard that, and I do understand that concern. I can't answer that, and I don't know if Edward, can you? I'll ask.
I will say this: like when you have a listening device,
can you hear him?
Yeah.
When you have a listening device, you will, if you're having a conversation about a product, you will start seeing advertisements for that product pop up in your ads when you're browsing the internet or your Facebook, whatever. It happens with my wife and I all the time. We'll be talking about maybe shoes or something, and all of a sudden she'll get a bunch of ads popping up about shoes.
So it's good to be aware of that.
It's good to be aware of that. That's right. That's right. Absolutely.
And when we're talking about the robotic cat and dog, I know that I had heard from someone that was working at a nursing home that one of the things that the cat does well, because it lays very nice and flat on their lap, if you have a care receiver that is trying to constantly get up out of a wheelchair and is prone to falls or something, it's almost, when you have a real animal, you tend to sit still and
that's right.
kind of the pet. And so it's almost like a psychological help that they're busy taking care of the cat, and it may keep them seated longer. So I did hear that comment from someone that was working.
That is great, Kim. That makes a lot of sense, and I've seen that. I had connected those dots, but yeah, that's great. That's very true. Very true. You wouldn't want to dump this little kitty out on the floor, that's for sure. Very cute.
So we've just had a caller ask again about where that swivel seat can be purchased. Can you repeat that again for us?
Yes. I had found this on Amazon, and I did Google what the name of this was, which was the Deluxe Swivel Seat Cushion. So I got onto Amazon and Googled that, and it popped up, and it showed just a variety of different ones in the range of about $20 to $60. So that this one was called specifically the Deluxe Swivel Seat.
Great, thank you. Well, we really appreciate you taking the time to show us all these easy products, relatively inexpensive, things that it sounds like our residents can install themselves. So those are the kind of things that actually get used. We did see a few more high-tech items, and for introducing us to a place where you could go in and see some of these higher-tech electronic products being used and get an idea what would make sense in your home. So we really appreciate that, Sheila. And I'm going to turn over to Maureen to tell us about what's coming up next.
Sure. Actually, I'm going to go back to one more question that popped up, if you don't mind. And the question is, Sheila, do you have a suggestion for a lap table that is stable, easy to set up, there it is, and will work with most any seating area? Any thoughts on that?
Gosh, I do. I'm wondering if the person is talking about something that just fits over any kind of chair. And I wonder if there are some that I have found, and I wonder if I could somehow get the name. I'd be happy to get back to the person, because I have found some that go over a couch or over a chair, for a laptop. But I'm just wondering if the person is thinking for a meal to eat at, or for a computer, or what kind of a device. I guess it doesn't matter, but there are some that do come right up to, and the legs are in the back. But anyway, I'd have to look that up. But yes.
That's okay. And Sheila's business, you all, is No Place Like Home. And you want to share your phone number, Sheila, or website? Yeah. Am I putting you on the spot?
No, I think Rebecca's got that.
Okay.
I did see that with her, but yes.
Yeah, we've had some harnessing technology behind the scenes things.
Oh, okay.
We'll try and get it up to put it up. But can you just state it, Sheila?
Oh, okay, sure. I'm happy to give my phone number. It is 828-215-3881. That's in Asheville, 828-215-3881.
Fabulous. Thank you, Sheila. And I'm glad you weren't aware of our adventures behind the scene. There we go. Thanks, Rebecca. And Kim, there's another question that came in, so I'll ask you too. What is the name of the wireless remote socket?
That's exactly it. Wireless remote control socket. So the word control is in there, but wireless remote control socket is this little thing.
Wow, that's great. I love it. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Just search for it.
That's right.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, Sheila, thank you so much for kicking off our first session in this series. Thank you so much.
Welcome. I hope it was helpful. My pleasure.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of great chatter here behind the scenes. So that's a good thing.
Good.
Yes. So thank all of you who've joined us now live or even later. When you view this, please drop in your comments and your questions. And we're delighted to tell you that the Echo Dot that Sheila shared with you and the jar opener are among the prizes that you could win. Just please respond to the survey. You'll find the link in the comments on whatever platform you're viewing. And so please complete the survey. We'd love to give away some things to you, including the Echo Dot and the mechanical jar opener. That was really delightful. And we want to remind you that this is part one of a 3-part series. And our second session will be Tuesday, January the 18th at 2:30. And it's called Keeping Loved Ones Safe Using Technology. And we will have representatives from the Caldwell County Emergency Services staff that'll provide an overview of resources that you can use for keeping your loved ones safe in their homes, for injury prevention and for emergency preparedness. And we'll have some wonderful prizes to share then. So regardless of whether you're going to join us then or any other time, please complete the survey if you're viewing now, live or later, because we really do value your feedback. And thank you for joining this award-winning series called Harnessing Tech to Connect. We're delighted to be of service to you, and we look forward to hearing from you and seeing you in January. Take care, and thank you.